हरिः ओम् श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः परमगुरुभ्यो नमः श्री आनन्दतीर्थभगवत्पादाचार्योऽभि नमो नमः। नारायण परिपूर्णगुणार्णवाय विस्फोदयस्थितितोलयन्निधिप्रदाय ज्ञानप्रदाय विबुधासुरसौख्यदुःखसत्कारणाय विदधाय नमो नमस्ते। यो विप्रलिम्ब विपरीतमतिप्रबोधान् वादान् निरस्य कृतवान् भुवि तत्त्ववादम् सर्वेश्वरो हरिरीति प्रतिपादकं तम् आनन्दतीर्थमुनिवर्यं नमामि। पूज्याय राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मरथाय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनुवे। सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। अत ईशावास्य उपनिषत् स्वयंभूः मनुऋषिः दृष्टुप् छन्दः अनुष्टुप् छन्दाभिजोगी है। अनुष्टुप् छन्देष्यां रोहिणी नाम देवताः दृष्टुप् छन्दांश्यां सूची नाम देवताम्। अत यज्ञेय उपनिषद। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णम् उदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Yes, friends, we were going through the Karma Yoga last session. The Karma Yoga was discussed in detail. The kurvate karmani yat pritaye sajjanaha pranayamo vasudevam devata mandala akanda mandalam. This is what Srimad Madhvacharya has said in Dvadasha Sutra. Kurvate karmani, the karma which will be liked, which will be used in all respects in the service of sajjana, will be the karma that we will all be doing it. Sajjana are the ones who are the wise, who have gone through the process of life, who have experienced, and who are all the ones who are eligible to guide all of us through the process of the Karma Yoga in this world. They are the Sajjana. Therefore, whatever we discussed, whatever we plan, we were trying to do without any attachment in the service of our duty, as well as reflected by our body, mind and intellect, guided by our intuition, that will be the one finally eligible to get the fruits from the Almighty, the power who is controlling us. While we are discussing the karma, there are two types of karma that will be considered very important. One is the active karma, proactive karma, and another is reactive karma. What we discussed all along has been the proactive karma. The proactive karma, we don't need to be nudged, we don't need to be told, because we realize our own obligations. We respond to the circumstances as well as the demands of the situation as guided by our body, mind and intellect and intuition. The reactive karma is the one when we respond to anyone's karma on a day-to-day basis. From morning to evening, when we do karma, we will find we will be responding to variety of demands both inside the house, within our family members, even outside, and even when we go out of the house professionally as well as in your normal interaction with the outside world in the given circumstances. The reactive karma is always the one which uses more of a rajas and tamas than the sattvic part of the guna what we have. Very often reactive karma is commanded by the situation and the emotions which it creates. At that point of time, we do not have any control on the actions or the words what we will be saying or what we will be doing. Active karma always gives rise to commitment and contribution. The reactive karma is towards conflict and confusion. The law of the Lord is love, and the language of the Lord is silence. Whenever you encounter any reactive situation, the best course would be to reduce your words and perhaps observe silent without creating any contrary feeling or conflicting feeling, so that you don't go on reacting to the situation and your emotions take over, and finally you end up into a worse sort of confusion. To avoid that, we always try to find a calm and contemplation that we do, because every day when you are doing a puja or a meditation, whatever which is convenient to you when you are observing, that gives a sort of a calm stance to your mind. You will be able to reflect and you will be able to give the best to the situation. But when you are in reactive karma, you will be totally taken over by kama, krodha, raga, dvesha. When that takes over, quite often you will not be in your control. Sometimes you may be remembering even 10-20 years before someone must have done or someone must have said something that still will be in your mind. Whenever you see a person and interact with that person, that will come into the fore, and your actions will be controlled by those agitative or those words which you have heard and which has affected you, impacted you all along. That will, over a period of time, whoever be the person, it will your reactions will be not in consonance with what you would have otherwise done, even in a calm situation. The composed, confident and collective mind will give a wonderful response than a competitive, agitated and aggressive mind. For instance, we are all from a particular group of, because upbringing, we are not supposed to be so aggressive, or we are not said to be so aggressive. For instance, South Indians are not supposed to be so aggressive compared to the North Indians, because they go any extent and get the things done and all. But you cannot always avoid a situation where you will have to go with the flow of the life. So if you are in a business or if you are in a profession, on a day-to-day basis, you will have to deal with quite a bit of things. And there are people who are working for you. You will be working with so many other people. You will have to work for taking everyone's concern into account. At that point of time, you will be doing whatever is happening around you based on what is considered to be quite normal in those circumstances. Some of them may be not in accordance with the law, some of them may be not in accordance with the Dhamma. But if it is happening around, why not? Because I also have to do it. You cannot be sort of a different species because you are in the same profession, you are also doing it. But then when you take some time off to reflect upon yourself as to what has been happening, if you are able to find, yes, you could correct some course correction, maybe in between here or in between there, you can still be complying with your own internal requirement, as well as you will be able to continue or pursue the profession or business or whatever your course of life you are with. This has been a dilemma all along. You cannot completely be a passive and inactive, but at the same time, you need not have to be reactive. You will have to be proactive. And you can't avoid a situation where you have to react, for certain issues. Maybe, there is a litigation. You will think, yes, I will also go for the litigation, because the things will have to be settled in the court of law, in a democracy, in a society you are living in. That is a normal process. But then, when you go to a lawyer or an advisor, he will say, because in order to strengthen your case, you go and demand something which is otherwise not expected of the other person. So then only finally they will come to some sort of a compromise or anything. See, in this type of situation, it is always in a calm and reflective mind will always guide you to talk to the other person and find out a solution. Instead of talking to an advocate, you can talk to your adversary and get a resolution on that. This possibly will work without any sort of a ill will or bad blood between both of us. This has to be done on a periodic basis, so that what happens is we don't create a situation of conflict, because once it accumulates, so many conflicting situations, when it gets accumulated in your mind, the negativity or to go away from the path of karma which we have been talking about, in accordance with the dharma as well as in accordance to the values what we have imbibed. Whether you call it dharma or not, we have been following certain values right from the beginning. We have been brought up and we have been successfully pursuing this life. That once you deviate, this will cause quite a bit of conflict internally. And this happens when you are dealing with the outside world. You are dealing with the outside in a project or a business or a property or a real estate or some material things. You have to be with the flow of things. In the flow of things, certainly, when you are pursuing with so many other people, the others are also having their own agenda. They are also pursuing. Each one of us are a born canvasser for our own causes. Like everyone else in the world are also born canvasser for our own causes. How both of us can come across, have a common cause, so that each one of us do get the benefit or the advantage or the due sort of a right between both of us. That has continuously been the struggle to achieve in the given circumstances. Basically, we are in Kali Yuga. The Kali Yuga things are happening not according to the pre-planned, predicated way. It all happens at the spur of the moment, at the heat of the moment, with so many other compulsions that is coming across. For instance, a businessman in India, he may have to comply with more than 42 type of things in a quarter. He has to upload so many forms, so many compliances, and hardly he will be left with any time for his business. How can you expect him to reflect and go on doing it? He will not be able to. He can't run the business. Either he runs the business or he does all these things. But however, it is here the ability of a person, the strength of his body, mind and intellect and intuition comes to play. For instance, when we have so many organizations in this country, why Tatas alone still command the trust and respect of the people, irrespective of so many other companies, the fly-by-night ones coming to the fore, and they are getting more attention and attraction. It is because of the value they have imbibed. For the last 150 and odd years, this entire organization has continuously been dealing with quite a bit of people in all walks of life. Quite often it is said they are behaving like bureaucrats. It's not like behaving. They do have a set pattern. They go by that things. They have the values. They don't try to break the values. Finally, the values and the purpose of the organization is going to remain over a long period of time, and that is going to be the bulwark of the entire company or organization or institution. Tatas were there for the last 150 years. Perhaps they will be there for another 150 years. But we don't know whether all other organizations who have sprung up will continue such a long time. It is in this context that we will have to build in our own day-to-day operations how we will have to deal with all these conflicting situations, because once you accumulate negativity by continuous indulgence in the flow of life, in pursuit of the worldly object, and the reactive mind continuously guide you towards the negative aspect of it, you are weaned away from your internal command and control, intuition, or the Atma in which the Almighty resides. When you deal with all of them, then you get distanced. You are not able to reflect upon, you are not able to look into you. Once you are able to look into you, slowly you get closure to the power which is controlling you. Your actions certainly will get the reward. It is not that at any point of time, you will be left totally, because unhelped or totally left in a lurch. You will finally be guided to a path where you will be able to stand up yourself for your values and for your actions. This has been quite a bit of instances which has come about in the lives where it has happened. We have seen in the listed companies, be it in abroad or here, if you count the number of companies who have completed more than 100 years of existence, they are few and far between. These companies have stood more than 100 years or so because of the values they have imbibed, because of the conservative approach in dealing with every person. Every person, however small he may be, he recognizes his dignity, his worth, and his obligations and his duties will be recognized, and the organization will be doing justice for. This is one of the fundamental ethos for any organization or an individual to go through. Perhaps this is very important when we will be discussing the other slokas in the Isavasyaupanishad. The first sloka, because we talked about it, is towards the mumukshkatva. Mumukshkatva is towards realization of God. You are almost prepared, you are able to go. The second one is for karma yogi. When you are not able to mumukshkatvam, you are not able to achieve, you are still able to do the worldly duties as best as could be possible. You will slowly be elevating yourself by practice towards the goal number 1 of the mantra 1. The mantra 2 was telling us how best we can interact with the world and do the things, and how the duty can be exemplified by such extraordinary acts which we discussed last time. While we are doing that, there's a possibility of us slipping down in our pursuit with the reactive forces in command towards towards slipping towards getting into full-fledged negativity of living in this world. This will be the sloka we will be discussing. The mantra 3 is the one in which we will be guiding us towards that. The mantra 3 is a sort of advice by the rishis, from Swayambhu Manu, from Dadichi, who was the first been taught this, and Yajnavalkya, all other host of rishis finally contributed to that. It is they, who have given us this wisdom, and they are telling us in the mantra 3 as a concern, the concern of a mother towards the child. A mother will take the child and teach whatever is good or whatever is not bad, whatever is bad, in such a way with so much of love and affection. The child will pick it up, of course, without getting hurt. The feelings are, if there is a flame, the mother will show, it's very hot. She will try to show her finger near the flame. You see how hot, I can't just put the finger, so you should be away from the flame. That is how they do. Here also, the rishis teach everything with the concern of a mother, so that you don't fall from your karma yoga into the totally negative forces that will be taking you away from your path. We will be reciting the mantra 3. Asuriya namate loka andena tamasa vrataha tamste pratyabhigachanti yeke chatma hano janaha. Asuriya namate loka andena tamasa avrtaha tamste pratya abhigachanti eke chatma hano janaha. Let us take the last sentence first. That is very important. That is the moot of this particular sloka. When you go into the negative flow of life, when you are weaned away from the path which you have so long able to follow through, it is as good as Atmahatya. Atmahano Janaha. Why it happens? The body is like the Surya, who was given the entire energy and who has brightened the mind, body, intellect and the intuition. Asurya. So the body where the controller who resides should be capable of being resident for him. Once it loses the capability of being a resident to him, it becomes Asurya. Once it becomes Asurya, then what happens? You lose slowly the Manushyatva. The Mumukshutva, what we talked about, is the highest point. From there, we are doing the Manushyatva in mantra number 2. Once you lose the Manushyatva, what happens? We are also doing what the animals will be doing. They are also eating, they are also surviving, they are also procreating. They are meeting their emotional needs. That's all. But they don't go beyond that. Once they are satisfied with the food, that's if a lion takes the food for 6 to 7 days, it doesn't need any food. It will not bother, but it will live with its problem. It will have its own digestion problems. It will have its own territory problem, resident problem. All those things it will face and it will do it. We will also be doing that. Andena tamasa vrata. The full darkness pervades the entire body, where it was full of light. When you are doing everything, as per the command of the institution, command of the controller, and command of the body, mind and intellect, you brought into the fore with a sense of duty, sense of obligations, without expecting the fruit. That entire thing will go up. Tamste pratyabhigachanti. Those tams, they, when they leave this world, they will be getting into the other bodies, the lower level bodies. If it happens, this Rishi says with a concern. See, if a person is actually leading a negative life and who is indulging only in the worldly pleasures because he is going with the flow of life, like Charavaka, where they were only looking after the body and the requirement of the Indriyas, all the Indriyas, and they said, once you are finally pleased, your Indriyas are pleased, finally when you are Dead is the body is happy, it had whatever it wanted and that is how it happened during the Buddhist time when Charavakas were all around in the country. That is where when Shankara had to come and propound the Vedantic Marga to wean away the people from this Charavaka and the other philosophies, Ajivaka and Buddhist philosophies. When that happened, but because then finally they brought in because there were other Jains, they were following a strict vrata, and they were also trying to show how the control of your indriyas will give effulgence to your entire being. It's not only a being, and it is becoming someone who can with the tejas guide the entire community, people, and take them out and all. But once you have a control on indriya, then everything you would totally be trying to get closer to the internal control. So the indriyas, when we say we are seeing, eye is seeing. When there is a light, you see someone. You are not directly seeing it. The light falls on the object. The object is reflected into your lens, and that lens sends the signals to the sensor, which goes to the brain. The brain processes it and sends and gives the figure. With so many sensors, they are working together. It's a very great technique. It is a controller who is operating it. Likewise, our ear. Ear also, when it hears, the sound waves come and hit our drum, and then it is being reflected to the sensor. Sensor goes to the mind, and the mind says what is being said. Once you are used to a particular language and you are able to understand the importance of what is being said, then you are able to react, then you are able to go. So is mouth, walk, because the devata there, she is commanding and she is giving you the ability to tell whatever you want to tell in such a fine and nicer way within the confines of the language, as well as using the beauty and propulsion of language which the other person can understand with the equal equanimity, and it will go to his heart. Mouth also has got another function. It is also to generate the saliva, the enzymes. It will have to, when you are taking the food, it will have to go and digest and do all those things. All these indriyas are controlled by the controller, but none of the indriyas know who is the controller. They can't see. They are only agents, instruments, and they are functioning. When they are functioning, that is why we have to function as a whole, as a body, mind, intellect and intuition as a whole. We will have to operate as an agent, as an instrument of the Almighty and do the things. We also don't know. We have not seen the God. We are trying to realize. If someone has realized the God, if you ask him how the God looked like, he will not be able to tell. He will only tell you the way, he will guide you the path, how you should go about. Perhaps over a period of time, slowly you will be experiencing it. Sometimes, when something you think couldn't never happen and happens to you, and you are so contented, and so something unexpected happens to you, you are so happy with it. So that becomes a sort of force. You are able to experience that. The Almighty, the realization is more to be experienced than to be expressed. Shabda, Veda, Vedanta, Mantra, Tantra, all those things, Yajna, Puja, Upasana, everything is Shabda. From the Shabda, you internalize it, you invert, assimilate it and absorb it. It gets into your every DNA. As you do puja, meditation or anything like that, you are able to experience that. That is exactly the one which propels you into the realization. Finally, what is the God realization is about? See, if you ask whoever has realized God, they can't tell you. They will only say the Veda and Vedanta, the way of understanding the God, whether this is it, whether this is that. You have to go on eliminating. Neti, neti, neti. It is not that, it is not that, it's not like a horse, it's not like an elephant, it is not like a wind, it's not like a storm, it's not like a horizon, it is not like it is not like a tsunami, it's not like anything. It is something which you will understand. Like once you eliminate, then finally the internal feeling, accumulated feeling, the bliss, overall bliss you have accumulated over a period of time, which pervades your entire DNA and every part of your body. And finally, when it gives you some sort of a bliss into your eyes, anyone who is realized, when you see Swamijis or any other Mahans who are realized, you will be able to see from the personality itself. Yes, because there is some difference between us and Allah. They are attractive, the magnetic. It's not like as we see Madhvacharya, as we see Raghavendra Swami, as we see any other Mahan of any other denomination. They are fully reflecting the effulgent energy that is inside them. That is finally the realization of the God, which they will be attempting to you, which we are also going towards that. When this particular internal happening is there, in order not to slip down to the level when your Manushyatva totally takes away the Purushartha. Purushartha is Artha, Kama, Moksha and all other things which we are striving to achieve. You will not be able to achieve because you are not prepared, you are not eligible enough. Yogyata, because you don't have to Yogyata for even the God to be resident in you. Once it is there, once you leave this world, you go and finally take a lower level of body. Why do you do it? Don't do it. That the rishis are telling with the concern. Rishis are telling with the concern not to the person who is already in the negativity and who is living a life through the flow of life as it has taken. They are trying to advise, because he will not listen. Look, because who are you to tell me? Because I am living in this world, you come and live in this world, you would know what it is. It is those who are doing already the Karma Yoga, who have been elevated to a level when from Manukshatva to Mumukshatva, where they can attain, as given in the Sloka 1, to give them a small warning. My dear, don't slip into this level. You take care of that. As far as our philosophy is concerned, it has very rightly, because taking the words and taking sandhis, taking the grammatical import of all the words, Srimad Acharya as well as the Tirtha, in their Bhashya, what they have written. When you do upasana continuously, puja, or all other performances, that is every day, whatever you are doing is a puja. When you are taking a food, it is for like Agnihotra to your stomach, because it gives you the energy. You take it as a prasad. Everything comes to you every day is a prasad. When you take bath, you are cleaning, parisuddha, deha parisuddha. Then only when you do puja, parisuddha bhakti, as they say in the slokas and all, parisuddha bhakti. Parisuddha bhakti, when you take deha and you feel fresh, want to focus your mind and all, you remove all the cobwebs, you are able to concentrate and you are able to give a focus to whatever you are reciting with your attention, full attention of body, mind and soul, and you get a bliss. You are totally away from this world. You are totally away from you also. You are concentrating on that. That slowly builds over a period of time. That bliss, accumulated bliss, finally comes into the fore in very many ways, which you will slowly realize. In fact, your day-to-day interaction will undergo such a dramatic change. People who encounter and interact with you will understand slowly, and not only that, it will be infecting. See, it will be infecting others. Because of you, so many other people will also get the positive vibes. They will also be able to. When you do it, it is the God's creation. Once you are able to proliferate and you become an instrument of the God, you will be able to proliferate so many people positive around you. If the whole world is full of this much of karma yogis, everyone is sajjana, what is there to worry? Nothing. It will be like Ramaraja. Ramaraja, there is no dukkha, nothing. Everyone was doing their jobs. Everyone was performing. And in fact, there is no question of any fight, ill will or anything like that. It will be like that. It's a utopian thought. But then we can achieve in this world also, to the extent within the confines of our living and within the circumstances in which you are able to live in, we will be able to achieve the same way of life, provided we are able to be totally guided by this sloka. And our Acharya also says, once you do upasana and once you do everything, you don't want to do anything special. Even if you know Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, with a wholehearted feeling, and with requesting, the entire Almighty's bliss comes to everyone. So we are the only one, we have not confined ourselves to this subcontinent of India alone. We have taken the whole world. Vasudeva Kudumbakam. It is our philosophy. So we consider, let the good happens to the whole world. He is the controlling whole world. He is controlling the whole world. That's why, there is a COVID, all over the world. We are in lockdown. He will only find a way out to get us out of this lockdown. He will find a way out and He will take us out of this. It is His grace only will take us. Whatever we do, we are all like blind men looking after a sort of a solution, which each one of us having our own thing, and we are also being fed with so much of information. We will not be able to distinguish which is fake, which is not fake and all. Some are validated, some are not validated. People do express their own ideas, but no one is still able to pinpoint as to what is this and how to go about it. But He only will help us. This is the belief, focus and attention that finally will take us out of this mess which we are in. This happens to be the case when we encounter every mess in our life. He is the one, He is the preponderant force who completely takes us out of everything when we are getting to situation, not necessarily like COVID, but there are so many other things. An impossible situation we encounter every time in the world. This happens. In order to get us ourselves studied, steadfast in the path what we are having, we will have to avoid getting into this. Asurya, when they say Asurya Loka, the Asurya is Sura, is the one, the Asurya means what? Asura. Asura is one who is depraved, who feels his entitlement has been stolen by others. He wants to retrieve, he wants to get it back, he wants to enjoy it fully, because that is the feeling he is having. When someone says Asura, when we call him Asura, it will not be, we have given a form in our stories, we have given a sort of, the characters, some sort of impression, these are all people who are Asura, and given the names, and telling these are all the bad guys. What is there? Because we could be, when we are in a situation when we feel we are depraved and we long for and get that and go about it, the Asuryatva is there. What is the finally? We have to remove the Asuryatva slowly. Once you remove it, automatically Daivika comes in, Daivatva comes in. Daivatva comes in, then you become a sort of a nourished soul with a spiritual energy, and spiritually you can be uplifted, and you become eligible to pursue your spiritual. Without spiritual moorings, no human being can have a steadfast and straightforward life. We will all be shaking. The Asuriya, Namate Loka also has a feeling that He is the one, He is the Almighty, He is not shaking, He will be steadfast, He is pervading everywhere. Whereas the Deha is mobile, is Chara, it will move. And Chara, internally also it will move, externally also it moves. If something, some news comes, you get internally agitated, and internally, emotionally, you become so agitated. For instance, in India, we are all used to, who is telling is more important than what is being said. Because we are all committed to, I think, particular ideas, particular thought at particular person. We will become a bhakt of that person. When we become a bhakt of that person, it is a disapplication of mind. Disapplication of mind means disapplication of intellect and disapplication of intuition. This is as a matter of happening, because this is the culture which we have come about. You are not able to rationally analyze what is said is correct, what is in line with the dharma, what is in line with the practice, what they have done. We do need to have some historical knowledge. Unless we have a history, we don't know, because once you have a history, it gives a sense of what is happening, what is likely to happen in the future, and you will have some sort of a vision. I think, because it's not that this true. So whenever something bad happens like this COVID, then you will have a confidence. This too shall pass. This will pass. It's not going to be there. Certainly this will pass. But how it passes, we don't know, because He knows it. He will create the right agents. There will be a scientist who has got the grace of Almighty, who may be able to get something. There is a group of people, who will find some solution for this. The COVID itself is a creation, and it will also realize, because what finally it has done its duty, and it may have to go under. It has brought the whole world to senses. It is not the missiles, merchandise, and manipulation that is going to be the way of life. You will have to respect nature also. You will have to live with the nature, and you cannot be going about the way you are living, flaunting everything, whatever you have. If you have anything, because you have 100 instruments, and if you want to show your importance, you have to have a whole lot of instruments in your hand. You have to have an instrument in which you are mobile, and you will be flying across, going all around, and all those things. You cannot be doing that. You will have to allow the nature its place, and you will have to confine yourself, your role and all, and you will have to live with every other element, every other creature, every other jiva in this world, and that is what is your duty. So that is slowly will come about. With this, in short, this mantra 3 is telling us, never fall into the pit of it. Do it, whatever is there. Upasana, do it, because in a spiritual level, do upasana, do puja, whatever you do it. Even if you are doing 5 minutes or 2 minutes, you do that. Because that gives you some sort of spiritual mooring on a day-to-day basis. It keeps you will not be swinging like a pendulum, but at least gives some sort of a focus attention. It gives you a momentary reflection. In the momentary reflection, may do million good things. You may be able to focus, and at that point of time, at the spur of the moment, you may be able to take a proper decision. The spur of the moment, when you do something, which will totally go negative, and sometimes it creates so much of conflict, that will perhaps avoided at any cost, because to avoid that we need to have His grace. Without His grace, we will not be able to have. The third thing is, once the warning they give, because when your manushyatva is totally taken out of you, and you are likely to take a different lower level body, that itself gives you a sort of internal craving. Yes, we should at least, because you will not totally go into the world. Even when you are in flow, you will take a pass. As you are taking a pass, in your set of projects, or in your project, even in computer, while you are following, when you find, and in fact, now we will have to remember Jayatita. When he Trishna Vichedavat, when he says, like you have to do the karma as you are doing it with the thirst. When you are doing upasanas and everything, as a matter of quenching your thirst, it automatically becomes a habit. See, you will not, nothing, you don't have to forcefully go and take a water, I have not taken a water, because your body propels you, your mouth, you are dried, you are parched, you need the water. The practice, makes you, and so that, you will not be able to come into the slipping level and forget about everything. Trishna Vichedavat. That we can. When Swamiji, Raghavendra Swamiji also in his Bhashyam, he says, when you do, even in a village, even in your house, even around, people of this nature who are spiritually elevated, when they are there, the whole area gets spiritually elevated. The benefit goes to everyone. You may not be directly interacting with them. That is why, because there is one question that was asked, what is the point in going to Himalayas and doing tapas, or doing meditation, or in discussing scriptures, and what is the great use? You are not in the everyday life, you are not contributing to the social welfare. What is that, a great thing you are doing it? This is the one question asked to Swamiji. He said, absolutely you are correct. When at a level where they are doing, it is quite a high, sort of elevated level, Himalayas, and so many people are there. They are there. When they do it, they fold, because they send the vibrations to the entire cosmos, which spreads to all the country. Therefore, they are not keeping idle. They are sending the vibration to the atmosphere. From that, it comes down. See, when 9/11 has taken place, there was a study in Princeton University. They could find the best part of the coastal area as well as the Midlands of USA and all. There was a sense of dissatisfaction amongst a lot of people. They continuously made, the psychotherapy analysis and parapsychology analysis. When they do, they found, because even before it was happening, there was some sort of a last few days, some sort of a melancholy was floating around in the minds of so many people around. The morbid melancholy was felt by so many people. That shows there was a cosmic vibration that has already given an indication. And we can ask, if that is the case, why the cosmos didn't prevent that happening at all. This is, as we do have karma, as we do have vasanas, as we do have the fruits of karma, the nation also has vasanas. The nation also has to face the fruits of its action, which we cannot do, because after all, it is whole lot of, because some good has happened to some part of the people, for some good has not happened to a lot of people in other parts of the world. Whereas we are concerned, our concept is Vasudeva Kutumbakam, because the whole world is one family. If every government works towards that, every government takes the spiritual moving to that, when there is no conflict, all the countries live for each other with the interdependence, there will be a utopian world. And perhaps, because we can't say it is impossible. It may happen in our lifetime or in times to come by. It may happen. And it is up to the God. When He has given everything and when He has given a solution, when the spiritual understanding comes after this colossal COVID, that has pervaded every part of the world may get a better wisdom and we will be going towards a better future. Well, with this, I think we will go to the mantra 4, which is showing the mantra 4 to mantra 8. It shows the path how we have to approach and realize the God. It's not realize the God in the sense the Godhead, how we can get it, and in fact how we will refine ourselves in our upasanas, pujas, meditation, and over and above that, how best the techniques, what they have said, when we will do it more meaningful understanding, because it's not only the psychological understanding, not only the spiritual understanding, it's also the psychological understanding. Vedanta and all, the finest exposition of psychology, which has been developed over a period of time with a practical life, but all this wisdom is not conditioned on the personal experiences. It is realized out of the realized thought, which is impersonal to every rishi who has understood that. It's very difficult concept to understand. They may be having experiences, but what they have realized is any soul with all the sort of focus and attention and perfection would have realized that is what they have just Shruti, they have given it and they have not recorded any parchment of a palm leaf. To Shruti wise it has come. Because once you write anything and all, once you read it, you will not be able to internalize. When Shruti, when it is taught by a guru in a particular circumstances, with a particular frame of mind, with a particular focus on tonal and temper and all those, how each word has to be taken, because it also swara, anuswara, all those, the conditions are there. Once you take it, and it gives you the remarkable sort of wisdom which no one can teach you anywhere in the world. That is how we are fortunate enough to get this great treasure from the rishis of the world. We'll go to the fourth sloka. Anejadekam manasojaviyo nainaddeva apnuvam purvamarshat taddavato anyan atyeti tishtat atminnapo matarisva dadati. Anejadekam manasojaviyo nainaddeva apnuvam purvamarshat taddavato anyan atyeti tishtat tasminnapo matarisva dadati. Well, we take the last sentence first. The Matarisva Dadati. Matarisva is the Akashas, the whole cosmos, that part. It is not an empty place. It has got filled with the air, with the prana. The prana pervades all the creatures, all of us, and it gives life to us. It's a life-creating force. When the prana is there, we are all there and we get life to the whole thing. This prana, which is coming from where? Anejad ekam, who is not trembling, who is not moving, he is pervading. Anejad ekam. That ekam is pervading the entire world. He is absolutely fixed. He is absolutely being observing as an internal controller, as well as he doesn't move. He is only watching you. And we are Deha and Atma. We are trembling. We are moving. We are trembling, because we hear something, because then we tremble. We are not able to take it, or we are able to take it with sort of a overjoy, or we are able to take it, with a pinch of, some sort of a sorrow. Sorrow is again a condition of mind. There is no sorrow in the world, nothing great explicit pleasure in the world. Everything is our control of mind. This ekam is the unblemished, who is the controller, who has created the entire cosmos, all the galaxies, universe, atoms, everything and all. This ekam is the one, who is pervading everything, and he has been keeping the activity of all those going around the world, including us. As Rigveda says very beautifully, Ekam Sad Vipra Bahuta Vadanti. See, because one Sat is Ek. That is why we have taken the entire whole world as Vasudeva Kudumbakam. We may be telling, and even Christians may be telling Jesus. The others will be telling Allah, and the Jews will be having their own God. All others will be having it. But Sat is Ekam. Because the order of living, the ordain of living, the concept of living, the control of living of the entire humanity, not only humanity, all the creatures, nature, everything is in his full encompassing control. So we have to understand what is this. He is not moving, he is not trembling, and we are moving, and we will have to understand. And finally we get the prana. And it's also going to talk about Indriyas, because you realize the whole world and whole things through your Indriyas. Indriyas are the external ones. It does have the controller, because in the Indriyas, like you have the mouth, because mouth is controlled by Indra, and the walk, and your mind is controlled by the prana, and control prana in ipso facto, it is the Almighty who is controlling it. Likewise, we have got the views, both Dvaita, Advaita, Vishtadvaita, all the views are there. But during Vedas, there is no denomination whatsoever. Prasthanatriya, after taking the Upanishad, Gita, as well as Brahma Sutra, and Ramayana, Mahabharata taking Smritis, finally these denominations have come. But when they were all created, there is no denominations. It is a pure spiritual energy. It's common to every one of us. Like in Tamil Nadu, most of our acharyas who are getting their adhyayana, they are all doing it in the Veda Pathashala, which is created by the Kanchi Kamakoti and other institutions there. Because Veda is common, Upanishad is common, Smritis are common. When it is common, they don't make any differentiation. You will have to understand the port of it. Finally, when you are doing your pujas, yajnas, yagas, whatever we do, and homas, you bring it to the fore with the respective requirement of the procedural aspects. That is the only difference. After all, there is no difference they have envisaged in the earlier times when they have given the greatest treasure of the wisdom. So we should be able to observe and we should be able to inculcate that, and we will go into the beauty of this entire slokas from 4 to 8, which will guide us how we have to perfect our path towards the realization of the Almighty, realization of the spiritual elevation of what we are all attempting at. It is a collective effort, and we will certainly be doing in the next class. With this, I will try to conclude the class. We will recite the Shantipata. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.